Hello everyone, this is Christian Melodexton Interactive, and by the time that we are done with this video, we will have gone through step by step on how to set up Webpack or hop module replacement by hand if we need to. So for instance, if we throw a bunch of exclamation points on here, we'll see in our console statement that we have a bunch where we only had one. And if we check out our styling, we can change the background color from purple to yellow, and everything is updated automatically when we save the file. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. And feels like I've done videos related to this particular topic about 1,000,000 times. And so I'm hoping that this sort of step-by-step approach here is going to be the last time, at least for some significant period of time, that I have to return to this thing. And that topic is hop module replacement. Right? So like I said, we'll do it step-by-step here. All right. So what we want to do to start with is install a package. And what we'll take a look, where is this package here? So the first one that we need to install here is the Webpack Hop middleware. And while I'm thinking about it, of course, a link to this article is in the description below. But more importantly, the things that we're going to do here, most likely you do not have to do yourself. Probably somebody has already done it for you. So for instance, when I'm doing an ASP.NET application, I install a package from npm for the client side, and I install a package from NuGet for the server side. You know, 5 lines of code if you include some spacing involved to configure everything on the server side, and hop module replacement is up and working, and I do not need to do anything. But at least through this video, we'll know basically what those packages are doing, and we'll be able to do it ourselves if we have to. So like I said, we want to install this package here, which is the Webpack Hop middleware. The version of the package at the time the writing is shown on the screen. Let's return back to Visual Studio Code, and we're in the webpack.config.js file. And if we look at the documentation for the Webpack Hop middleware, it tells us that we need to include some code in each of our bundles. And for instances in which we have multiple entry points, which 99% of the time I do, and we've configured our entry object to support that, we need to include this code in each bundle, not just one. So for the moment, what we could do is, copy and paste some string inside of our array for our index entry point, and that will include the code. But probably copying and pasting, we realize it's not the best way to do things. So for the moment, what I'm going to do, and we'll adjust this at some point a little bit later, is to just type this in: webpack-middleware and /client. Go ahead and save that. So we can change this. We'll go npm run build, so that'll run our build for Webpack. Bundles are done. Let's come back in, take a look at what we have. So this is where we left off from the last time. If we refresh, we will find a few things here. I'm only supposed to see one error at a time. It's probably because I've done some things. So for the moment, what we're going to do is ignore the fact that there's an error on the second line there. So ignore that hop module replacement as disabled line. And we'll see the Firefox can't establish a connection to the server at file blah blah blah. So if you've seen the previous videos, you know that the way that I'm serving this, or the way that we're viewing this HTML file, this index.html, is because I've dragged the file over into Firefox. So we're displaying this statically. There is no server. So what we need to do is to have a server for the hop module replacement to work. So what we'll do now is create a little server real quick. And to do that, see, that's all we're supposed to see. Ignore the line error below it in our actual example. So we need to install, what we're going to do is use Express real quick, because it's easy, and I don't do a whole lot of node programming, so I know just enough to get it working. And while we're at it, I said in the example that I used for ASP.NET Core, I install a NuGet package for the server side. We also need another, we have the hot middleware, but we also need another one, which is the Webpack dev middleware. So while we're installing Express, we'll just install this dev middleware. Shows the versions of them. Also, since we're going to have a server, let's just add another script so that we can, run an npm run and start our server up. So this is the command that we're going to use. So let's come back there and open up Visual Studio Code here again. I've already installed those things, and if you look, all this flipping back and forth, what you'll see is that we have this node server.dev.js. So we need to create the server.dev.js file. Turn back here. Look in here. So I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm using this thing, same setup for the other videos that I've done on this. So we have some other stuff in here. We're just going to line, comment all of that out. I guess I could just delete it, but it actually helps me with the sort of code completion. So out of sight, out of mind. Doesn't exist anymore. So what we want to do, const express, and that equals require express, spell right, and everything will work fine. And we need a local host port number. Pick a port, doesn't matter, 8000 in this case. Const, we need Webpack, which is require Webpack and const Webpack dev middleware require, man, the fingers would hit the right keys, Webpack dev middleware, and const Webpack hop middleware. Let's require Webpack hop middleware. All right, we also need our configuration, which is the Webpack configuration. And that's webpack.config. And we need to create the compiler, which is just the Webpack, and you pass in the configuration. All right, we'll create our Express app. Oops. So we equal sign express app.use. We're just going to stick with serving up this static file that we have, the index.html file. And so we need to include our middleware in the pipeline. So we'll do the dev middleware here, and you pass in the compiler. And at the same time, you can pass in some configuration information. So what we'll have here is public path. Documentation for it tells us that this public path should be the same as the public path for the that's in the configuration. So we'll just grab that, and just for who knows why, because I have it previously, colors. So we'll put some colors in the console when it runs. So that takes care of the dev middleware. We'll use hot middleware, same deal. Compiler, just for reference, you can pass in configuration option to this. This one is not required because the default logger is the console, but just to see, for example, how to do it incorrectly, put a period there. All right, so now we have the middleware is configured. What we want next, a little tiny bit of routing. .router and router.get. So we want to, if we get a request for the root, we don't care about the request. Still don't care about the request. Why are you doing things to me here? That's fine. I only want one. All right, and we want the response. response.render, and we'll just render that static index.html file. So now app.use router, and start the application. Listen on localhost. Just give us a little console log telling us everything's working fine. So listening on, oops, we'll just do localhost port, save, CLS. Just, I've gotten to the habit of making sure everything's rebuilt before starting the server. So npm run express dev. So listening on port 8000, return back here. So we'll just do localhost, we need 8000. All right, so now we've gotten rid of one error. Now this is the one that's supposed to have popped up now. So it's telling us that hot module replacement is disabled. Little Google searching, if we didn't know, would help us on this one. This one's a simple fix. Return back to the while I'm in console open, let me just go ahead and stop the server. Close it for a second. And back to webpack.config. The reason it's a hot module replacement is disabled is that we need to add a plugin. For them, like I said, or the same as we did on entry, I'm going to add this plugin later on. Here we'll do some changes to see why. But Webpack what is it? Hot module replacement plugin. So we add that plugin to it, save it, console again, npm run build, and run express, refresh, and every once in a while we get these strange errors here that are inconsistent here. Just to be sure, let's see if we can get rid of that. All right, so we've got nothing going on, great. And run build. Chalk it up to development environments. So we have no errors here, everything's working fine. Well, is it working fine? So let's go to that console index.ts. All right, so we have our console log statement here. Let's add an exclamation and save it. And we get a little error, or not error, but warning here. Ignored an update to unaccepted module. So it's ignoring our changes. It's ignoring the changes because hot module replacement is opt-in. We need to opt in basically per bundle, and we have not done any opting in. So let's go ahead and go back to, well, not back to, we're already here. So actually what I want is to show you what we're going to do is to do a little change to that TS file there, but we also want to have some typings installed and where they are here. So we want to install the types for the Webpack environment. So that version 1.13.6 at the time of the video here. So that gives us little type definitions. So now we'll go back here, and what we need to do, where's that here? So if, and we do type of module dot hot. It's not equal to undefined. All we need is module.hot.accept. Save that. Console again. Go ahead and stop that. Rebuild. Bring up Express again. Come back in. Save it. There's our exclamation point friend is back. So let's come back in here. Couple exclamation points added to it, and we have our statement down here which has 3 exclamation points on it. So it looks like everything's working fine there, and we're happy now. And then we think, oh wait, let's check just to make sure that everything is running for our styles as well. So let's just add our background color again. Background color, blue. Save it. We get a message up here checking for updates on the server. Nothing hot updated. App is up to date. No, it's not. My background's not blue. And of course, the issue here is that as far as the styles go, what we're doing is converting from Sass to CSS, blah blah blah. But in the end, we're pulling out the styles from our bundle, from our JavaScript, and creating a CSS bundle. What we want is to have the styles served in memory so they can be pushed down to the browser. So next thing that we need to install, if we come down here, is install this style loader here, version number there. So we'll come back into Visual Studio Code and the webpack.config file. And what we'll do is add in another constant up here. We'll say isDev, and that's equal to mode equals to development, right? So if we're in development, isDev will be equal to true. So we come down here to our SCSS test here. So these are our styles that we're dealing with. So like I said, Sass, PostCSS, CSS, and then Mini Extract plugin is pulling that out into another bundle. So what we'll do here is just come in and say isDev. So if isDev is true, we'll do something, and if it's not, back to Mini. And that something we want here is just style loader. So we'll go ahead and save that. Console open again. Stop our server. npm run build. Up to date. Run express. Back to the browser. Back to our example. Refresh. So now we still have our 3 exclamation points, but we have our blue background. That's because we built. Let's come back in here and let's go with fuchsia. Save it. So now our styles are being are able to be replaced using the hot module replacement as well. And what we'll do real quick to finish things up here is to take a look. I talked about some things. So we're doing this index and then pushing it in. What we're going to do instead, of course, so we only want this hot module replacement stuff going on here if we're in development. So let's just get rid of that. And we'll say if isDev. And inside of there, we'll just do object.keys and entry dot for each. Oops. All right. So sometimes I would have an entry point that points just to a string. So if I have some TypeScript I want to include and no styling, it's possible. So let's just go ahead and say if and type of. So entry x, if that's equal to string, what we'll do here is to say entry x equals, and we're just going to wrap the current entry, which is a string, into an array. So we have an array of one string. And then we come down here. So everything's in an array here. Now we'll push that, and I should have just copied and pasted, but Webpack hot middleware client. All right, so now we'll have everything, for all of our entry points, we'll have that passed in without us having to add anything else. And then we'll come back here. We only want, again, hot module replacement working if it's development. So isDev, and good to go. So we have the hot module replacement plugin isDev there. Save it. And just because I'm super paranoid, let's just see if we've managed to do things correctly. And run the server again. Refresh. At least it's running. So go to the styles. I don't know, make it purple. Purple, it changed for us, and 1 exclamation point is enough, and we get our 1 exclamation point. So now we have hop module replacement running. Once again, I would say for the vast majority of times we will not have to do this by hand. Somebody's already created a package on npm, and or 2 packages depending on your setup, or a package on npm and a package on NuGet, you know, 1 for client, 1 for server, so that we don't actually have to do this by hand, but at least we know what's being done, and if we have to, we can do it by hand. And you know, that takes care of it for this video, and I'll talk to you in the next. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.